Hallo alle! If you're like me, you've probably caught something that makes you want to catch them all. But you still want to learn German. Unfortunately, you can't change the language of Pokémon Go without changing the language of your entire device, and you can't change the device language to German on a Samsung Galaxy S6 in the United States. If I'm wrong about that, please leave a comment down below, because I'm desperate to find out how I can do that, but so far I haven't found a way. That means that you can't learn the necessary Pokémon vocabulary without doing a bit of digging. Luckily for you, I've done the digging for you. Today we're going to be talking about the most important vocabulary you need to know in order to talk about Pokémon Go in German. The name of the app and pretty much everything that has to do with the word Poké in any sense of the word, Pokémon, Pokéstop, Pokéball, all of these things are cognates and they are the exact same word in German. Don't forget though that Pokéball has the word Ball at the end of it, which means that the plural is Pokébälle. In order to find Pokemon with this app, you're going to have to go out into die echte Welt. Not sure if you've ever heard of this before, but apparently it is outside of your house, and it is not, in fact, in the computer. Specifically, you should be walking in the direction of öffentliche Kunstobjekte, Sehenswürdigkeiten und Denkmäler. That's where you'll usually find Pokestops and Arenen, which is the plural of die Arena. At the Arena, you can fight the Pokemon who are guarding that arena. In German, you'll use the verb kämpfen to fight. For example, ich kämpfe gegen Bulbasaur. DrewBud from Reddit was kind enough to send me over some screenshots so I can see what the app looks like when you open it up in German. There's always a warning that tells you, bleibe wachsam, behalte immer deine Umgebung im Auge, which basically is their way of telling you to look up so you don't walk into traffic. When you go to catch a Pokemon, you'll need the verb fangen, which is an irregular verb, so you will need an umlaut for the do and RZS forms. You can also use the verb schnappen, which is used in the song. Komm und schnapp sie dir! The verb werfen is used to throw, which will come in handy, but it's also an irregular verb, which means that it takes an I in the do and RZS forms. When you catch a Pokemon, you'll see a few stats, the first of which shows you the AP, which is labeled as XP in English. When you have a good throw, it'll say toller Wurf in German, and Gesamt means total. When you tap on a particular Pokemon, you will see some more statistics. At the top you'll see WP, which stands for Wettbewerbpunkte. This is a general number that tells you how strong your Pokemon is. Under the picture of the Pokemon you'll see the name, which you'll notice has been translated, but we will get to the Pokemon names later. Then you have the word Typ, which is the type. Typen include Pflanze, Gift, Feuer, Flug, Wasser, Käfer, Normal, Elektro, Boden, Fee, Kampf, Psycho, Gestein, Stahl, Eis, Geist, Drache, and Unlicht. Next to the Typ of the Pokemon, you'll see Gewicht and Größe, which is the weight and height of the Pokemon. In order to power up your Pokemon, you're going to need some Sternenstaub, which is stardust in English. You may also need a family-specific candy, which the Germans call bonbon. These bonbons can be used to evolve your Pokemon as well, which in German we use the verb entwickeln. If you want to get rid of a weak or duplicate Pokemon, you can transfer it using the German button verschicken. Once you get to level 5, you can join a team and fight in the gyms. The team names are Instinct, which is yellow, auf Deutsch Intuition, gelb, Mystic, which is blue, Weisheit auf Deutsch, blau, Valor, which is red, und Wagemut, oder rot auf Deutsch. And now for the biggest difference between English Pokemon and the German Pokemon. The names of the Pokemon are almost all different. Pokemon names have traditionally been puns based on the creature's origins. For example, Caterpie looks like a caterpillar, but the German word for caterpillar is die Raupe, which is why the Germans call him Raupi. Obviously there are a few hundred Pokemon, so I won't go through the list of names completely, but here are a few examples of the names that change between German and English. Bulbasaur in English is a combination of the word bulb and dinosaur. In German we call him Bisasam. Bi, meaning like by, as in more than one, and Samen, which is German for seed. Charmander, which is char and a salamander, basically a burning salamander. In German we call him Glumanda. Glühen is to glow or to burn, and salamander is again salamander, so we have Glumanda. Squirtle, which is a squirt and turtle together. In German, we call him Shiggy, which is short for Schildkröte. Metapod, which is a combination of the word metamorphosis and pod. In German, we call him Safkon, which is safe and cocoon put together. Pidgey is just short for pigeon. In German, we use the word Taubsi because it's short for Taube. Ratata, which is a rat. In German, we call him Ratfratz. Poliwag, which is actually a weird version of the word pollywog, which is actually like the British version of a tadpole. In German, we call him Quapse, which is because of the word Kaulquappe and Kapsel. It's apparently a tadpole capsule. Geodude in German is actually translated as Kleinstein, which literally means small stone, but is actually an Einstein joke. And Snorlax actually changes to Relaxo in German. I've linked some things down below that you might find interesting, like a list of Pokemon names in German, the Pokémon Go website in German and in English, and the German Pokemon website that is called PokeWiki, which is where I got a lot of information for this video. Also some other sources that I used in order to get some information. Und jetzt die Fragen für dich. Spielst du Pokémon Go? Was ist dein Lieblings-Pokémon? Was ist dein stärkstes Pokémon? In welchem Team bist du? Kommentier bitte unten, was du von Pokémon Go hältst. Auf meinem Blog kannst du sehen, was für Pokémon ich im Moment habe und ein paar andere Sachen. Das ist alles für heute. Danke fürs Zuschauen. Bis zum nächsten Mal. Tschüss.